All right, folks, good evening. Welcome aboard our first full throttle of 2017. I'm extremely fired up and ready to get airborne. My name is Matthew Buckley. My call sign is Whiz, and you're going to learn about that here in a couple minutes. And like I said, extremely fired up, man. You are with one of the only financial firms in the United States and one of the only individuals to both nail the election of President Trump and the resulting market rally. And we're going to show you our portfolios tonight and how we got it right when just about everybody on Wall Street, everybody in the liberal media got it wrong. So we are going to have a hell of a year. 2016 was an epic year for us here at Top Gun Options, and I'm really fired up to have you guys on board. 350, 500. I'm gonna show you our opt-in numbers here in a couple minutes because men lie, numbers don't, and I'm going to show you exactly how many folks we got on board who have registered to attend all of our live trading sessions this week. Remember, you don't have to attend all of them. Wiz, I'm busy tomorrow morning. I'm busy Wednesday night. No worries. Everything's recorded. I'm going to show you where the replays are so you can watch all of them throughout the week if you can't join us live for each one. So here's our in brief for tonight. And folks, before we do any mission, we do a brief. And guess what? It's called a brief for a reason. It's not called a long. So here's what we're going to cover in our brief tonight. A little bit about me and Top Gun Options. I'm going to give you a warning in about a minute, and maybe some of you will excuse yourself, but I'm going to give you a warning, and I need you to take it in if that's one of you folks. I'm going to cover our flight schedule for the week and some of the tactical administrative items you're going to need to adhere to. Our portfolio performance for 2016 crushed it. All of my portfolios hit triple-digit returns on risk last year. Again, men lies, numbers don't. We'll show you those audited returns. Tonight we're going to talk about our trading and training methodology, and training's in italics for a reason. We don't educate at Top Gun Options. The world is full of educated derelicts. If I can steal a sentence from President Calvin Coolidge's, one of his famous quotes. Doctors are trained. Fighter pilots are trained. Traders are trained. Education gives you nothing. Okay, and look at kind of the educated derelicts either teaching in our institutions or cowering in their safe spaces, sucking on their thumbs. So we're going to train you for the trading of combat. We're going to use an acronym that I used in 2016, and we're going to transfer it to 2017. We're going to change a couple of what the letters meant, but to fear 2017. So write that acronym down because we're going to cover that tonight. And then finally, we are going to cover our 7-step trade plan. Now, you should have a handouts on your little control panel. There should be a handout that says TGO Trade Plan 1-page PDF. You should have that. I uploaded. You should be able to download it and be able to either print that out, either tonight or before tomorrow morning's live trading session, because you're going to need that. That's a handy piece of gear for the rest of the week. You guys already got the options pocket checklist, so you should have a copy of that. Okay? Good. Everybody, I downloaded mine. Good to go. And then I'm going to do a preview of tomorrow morning's primary live trade brief at 10 a.m. Now, warning. Read this. I have two things to say on this slide. I've learned this from doing this for the past couple of years. First of all, if you showed up tonight looking for a bunch of free trades, you probably want to leave and don't come back again because you're not going to want to be a member here at Top Gun Options. That means you're a very tactical trader. Usually by now, half the people are like, where are the trades? If you want to place some trades from a guy you don't even know in the market, you deserve everything bad that's going to happen to you tonight. That's why this is called an in-brief, and then tomorrow morning we're going to be live in the market. Also, politics. Usually a couple people bail out halfway through like, oh yeah, you're a lunatic type of thing. If I didn't trade my politics, folks, I'd be broke, period. I'm not broke, and you can ask your other TGO members about how we did around the election, and we absolutely printed money. Period. And Dave's been here for a while. He's like, dude, I hate your politics, but you print money. This is David B. 214 around the election. Thanks for your service. Best money I've spent so far in my trading career. So again, if the polls are right, which they're not, I don't believe in any of them. That's why we were right. I don't listen to polls. I listen to what I do around the country, which I'll get into, and just a lot of stuff. I know they're wrong. But if you believe the polls, half of this room is, oh my God, I hate your politics. The other half isn't. But that's not true because I know options traders. The SIBO came out a couple years ago with white male, $150 a year, looking at vice president level or above, looking at alpha to his. I'd say about 75% of the people in this room I'm going to get vertical head nods from. The other 25%, listen to me, okay? Listen to me, and even if you hate them, they're going to potentially make you money, period. Whether it was the Brexit, the Fed meetings where we thought she was going to raise rates, or the election, we nailed it. So even if you disagreed or you disagree tonight, strap in and stay, because usually about 20 minutes into this, I get a couple people bailing out like, okay, you're a lunatic. Not really. Okay, here's the tactical part. You will need a pen, paper, your notepad, whatever it is, for the rest of the week. You're going to be taking a lot of notes. Now, there is a little camera. You see on what you're looking at me at has a camera on the top right. It's got a little camera icon. Your chat box might be covering it, so just move your chat box. That allows you to take a screenshot of what I'm talking about, whether it's my trading platform tomorrow morning or something tonight. You can take a screenshot. So take a screenshot, and I think it goes to your desktop, okay? So does everybody see the little camera icon? Okay? Exactly. Bombs on foreheads, man. Stan, you're right. Richard, move your chat box. Everybody else sees it. So it's there, guys. So you can take a screenshot of what I'm talking about. Now, everybody needs to write down this link right here. Let me just go to the page and show you. This, throughout the week, I've already gotten 8 questions in the chat box, and I'm not going to read everybody's comments tonight because it takes too much time. You know what? Let me just post this for you instead of writing it down. You can pop it in one of your tabs while we're talking here. Here we go. Paste. So this is the replay page, all right? go.topgunoptions.com/FT-replay, okay? Full throttle replay. It ain't rocket surgery, folks, okay? This is a placeholder. This was the last full throttle video I did back in December during our last launch. So you can watch that tonight if you're bored. Tonight's presentation and all the other 5 of them that I do and Doug does will be on this page. Okay, so you don't have to come in here every morning or whenever our sessions are and, hey, Whiz, is this recorded? The answer is yes, and it's on this page. I just gave you the link, okay? Let me go back to my slides. Also, I do a daily video. It's free. You don't, it's free. It doesn't cost anything. You don't have to go to the site throughout the day and go, hey, did Whiz put his video out yet? It's called a sit rep. That's a situation report in the military. Name, email, get my sit rep. It gets pushed out to you. I might be waiting for Janet Yellen to talk. I might be waiting for the Twitter-in-Chief to talk. It might be at 8 a.m. It might be at 4 p.m. when the market closes. Have it pushed to you. It's free. If you don't want it in a week or 2 or whatever, ditch it and unsubscribe. But it is free. I strongly recommend that you get the sit rep or you subscribe to the Top Gun Options YouTube channel. So that's the second piece of tactical admin I have to tell you. Replay page, covered. Daily sit rep, covered. Now, I want you to also, if you haven't, and I know the guys who started StockTwits, buddies with them, but I don't get paid. This is just where I post a lot of good intel, and I want you to follow me, and this is also my Twitter handle. It's WhizCheck6. So let me go to StockTwits. That's me right there. Little smiling face over in the corner, 4,400 followers or whatever. This is the Twitter for stocks. And out of the 500-600 people and climbing that are in here tonight, I guarantee you half of you haven't heard of StockTwits. This ain't Yahoo Finance. They boot you the instant. You can't get back on. They trace your IP. Trust me, I had to beg my buddies to. I'm like, I know you guys. One of my marketing ladies years ago threw a couple links up here, and they're like, you're done. It's the soup Nazi, guys. You can't spam on this board. This is actually professionals, semi-pros, and folks like yourself sharing intel, sharing trade ideas. I put some trade ideas up here. You have to get on StockTwits. Follow me or not, but that's also my Twitter handle in case you guys want to see some of my political views. Okay, so StockTwits out of the way. Trade plan. Some of you said, or 1 or 2 said you don't know where a trade plan is. It's in the handout section. I got about 90 yeses, so it's in there. We're good to go. Finally, you can put this on the back burner. We'll talk about it eventually, but I use the Options House platform. Why? I helped build it when I was at Peak 6, and we'll talk about that. But if you want to open a free paper trading account or get $1,000 back, commission-free trading, optionshouse.com/TGO. When you sign up by the end of the week, not if, you're going to want to open an Options House account, and we'll talk about that later. Now, again, I seem very fired up because I am. I'm very passionate about what I do. By Friday, by close of business Friday, when we do our weekly Options Live trade brief, you're either going to be a member or you're going to be like, shit, how do I become a member? Look at this. Here's tonight. Let me just refresh the page since it could be more people coming in here. Look at this. There are, see this, full throttle session training weeks. We meet 6 times this week. There are 3,506 of you registered. This is the highest full throttle launch we've ever had. I remember when I saw 500 people in here and we popped champagne. We literally popped champagne. 3,506. By the end of the week, 50 of you will be Top Gun Options members. So let's get airborne and see who it's going to be. We got a lot to cover tonight. Here's the flight schedule. This is one of the times you're going to use the camera. Wait till I get to the bottom. Tonight we're doing the welcome aboard. It's 8 p.m. Eastern. Fired up. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to do the primary live trade brief at 10 a.m. Eastern. All times are Eastern, as you see at the top of the slide. I'm going to be showing you some trades for the front month. I'm going to show you a trade for the back month. Hint, it's most likely going to be a Goldman Sachs trade because that thing's going to print money. We'll talk about it tomorrow morning, and I'm going to show you the current positions in the primary live trade brief model portfolio. Sometime tomorrow afternoon, I'm also going to send out an urgent alert, which is one of our lower price services. It's a video, it's a trade with me, it's one per week, and that's also its own portfolio. But you get that as part of your full throttle package. So tomorrow's a busy day for me, about an hour and a half to 2 hours with you guys at 10, and then an urgent alert I'll be sending you tomorrow afternoon, okay? Now, we will move on to Wednesday, very busy day as well. We have accelerated retirement at 1 p.m. Throughout this week, folks, you're going to see that we do several things skill-based. The primary live trade brief tomorrow is right down the fairway. We trade the front months, we trade the back months. Accelerated retirement is for those of you who are looking, hey Whiz, I'm a little, let's throttle back a little bit. Looking at, a little longer time, saving for college, saving for retirement, a little bit more conservative portfolios. But let me show you the performance here in a couple minutes of how accelerated retirement did last year. It's really embarrassing. After accelerated retirement, we're going to start opening the slots, 50 only. Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, you're going to join our volatility arbitrage trader, Doug Robertson, and he's going to give you a sample of the full throttle training, okay? Doug's going to teach 8 sessions when you sign up for full throttle, so he's going to give you a demo session of, I think his topic is going to be vertical spreads on Wednesday night. So Wednesday night, vertical spread training with Doug. That next morning at 9 a.m., we do what's called the demo do, folks, here at Top Gun Options. We're military guys. We'll demonstrate something to you, then you're going to do it. So that next morning, Doug's got a couple earnings trades he's going to put in his model portfolio, and you're going to do. Okay. Thursday, Doug, kind of like my urgent alert, he's going to do the his advanced alert. Okay. Now, folks, if you saw 10 a.m. somewhere else, it is 9 a.m. It is wrong. That's incorrect. We changed the page. It's 10 a.m. tomorrow. That's incorrect. It's 10 a.m. I ain't going to be there at 9. You can show up. It's 10 a.m. And Friday, you're not going to want to miss. This is when we do our weekly options live trading session. This morning I sent out, or it was actually around noon, I sent out a S&P 500 weekly bull put spread to my members, tried to get filled at $1.05, $1.10. It went down to 75 cents, so some of my weekly options traders are already up about 350, 400 bucks. So by Friday, that trade could potentially make 1,600 bucks. So we're going to do weekly options Friday at 1, and we're going to debrief the week. Doug and I will get in a room. All the slots will most likely be taken. By last full throttle in December, it was we were closed by Friday. Here's my promise to you. Even if we get rid of all our memberships by Thursday, for example, I'll still do Friday stuff because I'm going to be doing them anyway. And we got to go. I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, wait. Let me go back one. Take a screenshot of this right here, guys. This is the flight schedule for the week, and take a screenshot, okay? I'm going to keep that up for 5 seconds. Find your little camera icon so you don't have to email support or, hey, Whiz, what time is this, or anything like this. Screenshot, print it, put it with the trade plan that you got for the week, okay? We good to go? Vertical head nods, moving on. You can also get the flight schedule on the page that you opted in at whenever you open the email. Okay, here we go. All that admin's out of the way. Let's get fired up. Hopefully everybody has a glass of Pinot Noir. Right? For the 8 o'clock sessions, that's allowed. That's one of our rules of engagement, okay? Here we go. Folks, when you think about it, trading is a form of combat. Now, actually, having been in combat scenarios and situations, I don't say that lightly. It's a comparison. Because when you think about it, ladies and gentlemen, there's a winner and there's a loser. And guess what side of the trade I plan to be on that? Obviously. Who said that? You're going to say that by the end of the week. Like I said, this is our 7th year in business. We got folks that have been here since day one that haven't gone anywhere because they believe this. And you need a good wingman with you. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, at the beginning, my name is Matthew Buckley. My call sign is Whiz. That's not my God-given name. My parents actually like me. I earned that call sign flying the FA-18 Hornet for the United States Navy for 15 years. And I graduated from the Navy Fighter Weapons School, which many of you know is Top Gun, and I was also a bad guy. I was an adversary pilot. So that was one of the better parts. If you saw the movie Top Gun, which I'm sure a lot of you have, I was Jester, right? I was the bad guy. And I also flew 44 combat sorties over Iraq. Now you're sitting here going, all right, man, how did this guy go from the cockpit to the trading pit? Well, grew up one of 6 kids in a lower middle class Irish Catholic family in South Jersey. Half my brothers and sisters were born in South Philly. The other half we were down in South Jersey. Unfortunately, I'm a recovering Eagles fan, but always was imbued with a sense of service above self. Loved the ocean, was a sailor, was a lifeguard, loved aviation. There was a fighter pilot for the Atlantic City Air National Guard that lived across the street from me, and was just always wanted to flew the Hornet or fly for the Navy. But each morning, I remember my dad, before he went into his law firm in Atlantic City, where he was an investigator, on the back of the Atlantic City Press, there was all these hieroglyphic symbols. And I remember saying, Dad, what's all that stuff? And he said, well, son, that was those are stocks. So what the hell's a stock? Well, I didn't say that. He would have knocked my teeth out of my head. He said, well, buddy, you like McDonald's, right? Sure, I love Happy Meals. He's like, well, if you eat there often, which we couldn't afford, maybe that was once a month. He said, the stock might go up. So you might actually be able to invest in a company, stocks go up. Hooked on naval aviation, and hooked on finance. So short story long, as a young naval aviator flying the F-18 Hornet out of Naval Air Station Lemoore, California, I decided to get into options and trading stocks, trading options. I like trading options just because there's a lot more potential safety, risk management, and leverage. So cockpit to the trading pit. Here we go. How did Top Gun options come about? And folks, unfortunately, it's an absolute tragedy. I got out of the airlines late in 2000, and like a lemming, I followed all the other guys out of the door, wanting to be a rich airline pilot, working 1 day a month, making 6 figures. Well, unfortunately, my first day of work as a pilot for American Airlines was September 11th. I was called out into the living room. My mother-in-law had called and said, hey, you better come and take a look at the TV. Somebody hit the World Trade Center with an airplane. I'm like, all right, seriously, I got to pack. Some idiot in bad weather in a small airplane. Well, unfortunately, I went out to the TV and saw what you guys saw, and then saw the second airplane hit. I immediately knew we were under attack. That's not coincidence. I ran into my closet, threw my American Airlines uniform out of the way in its plastic wrap. Hadn't even worn it yet. Grabbed my flight suit. Nearly broke my neck on my boots because they weren't tied. Hopped in my old '89 Porsche, and I think I broke the land speed record at the Naval Air Station Fort Worth, where I was flying the F-18 for the reserves. So I was supposed to be flying for American as a career, and then flying for the reserves part-time. And guess what, man? I went from potentially flying in an airliner that day to shooting one down, to potentially shooting down a squadron mate. Out of 20 guys in my reserve squadron pilots, about 15 of them flew for American Airlines. Could you imagine being ordered to shoot down an airliner with you guys on it, all the people in this webinar, let alone one flown by one of your best friends who you flew over Iraq with in combat conditions? Unbelievable, man. A couple days later, I made national news. I launched on alert when the airspace was still closed on a guy who was flying near the airborne White House down in Crawford, Texas. Put him into a grass strip. Awful time in my life. But guess what? I stopped feeling so. Obviously, it was my first flight. I was at the bottom of the seniority list. 13,000 pilots. There's Whiz. 12,999 gone in the blink of an eye. I got a photocopied letter October 1st that said, "Dear crew member," in black and white, all askew, that said, you're furloughed, which is polite airline speak for you're fired. Time to get serious. So let's go. Let's roll. A lot of other people had worse days than I did that day, so stop feeling sorry for yourself, you jerk. So what I threw myself into a lot of things, folks. I became a business consultant, man. I took everything that I learned in the military, everything I learned that I'm going to teach you tonight that we're going to apply to trading, I applied to businesses. Wrote a book. I went into all these companies. I taught them how to strategically plan. Most companies don't know what they're doing for lunch tomorrow, let alone what they're doing in 6 months or 3 years down the road. They don't have a vision, a strategic objective. There's no leadership. There's no execution. They don't debrief. So wrote a book from sea level to sea level. Why? That the little coat and tie picture you're going to see in a couple minutes, because I really do believe God was shining on me. Take a quick look at some of the companies that I've spoken with, given keynotes for, worked with their CEOs or their frontline salespeople, their executives, financial, biotech, look at that, the healthcare sector, VMware, look at this, NOV, cargo, agriculture, oil. Why do you guys care about this? Because on the back burner, I've been trading options since I was a young lieutenant. I got to see inside these companies. Now, for all the attorneys out there, I do not trade in any of the names I work with. I won't tell you about anything. I can't for compliance reasons. But guess what? I get situational awareness as to who's hiring, who's firing, who's acquiring, what sectors are growing, who's not growing. And I started printing money in my own little portfolio that started to become a full-time job. So, and let me ask you a question. How many of you get your financial news from what I call Comedy Central? Folks, by the time it gets to some 28-year-old in Englewood Cliffs who's got to type it up for a teleprompter for some well-coiffed guy with good hair to read it, it's over, man. It's already too late. I mean, and if you're taking stock advice from a guy with an air horn and a cowbell, you deserve all the stupid things that are going to happen to you, okay? You're dealing now with a guy who is in not only DC, the Pentagon, a lot of buddies still in the military, so I know what's going on strategically. We got our fingers on the pulse of the market here. We're going to have an absolute blast here at Top Gun Options. So, as God would have it, Jim's one of those guys. Results. Give me 3 more slides, Jim. We're going to talk about results here. Here we go. So, you're welcome. And all the folks saying thank you for your service, I appreciate that. I can't read all the comments because there's going to be about 1,000 to 1,500 people in here tonight. So, as God would have it, I popped up on the radar of one of the largest volatility arbitrage trading firms in the United States, and it's in the world right now, multi-billion-dollar firm. And I got to be honest with you, man, it's at the intersection of Jackson and LaSalle. Everybody see these big vertical windows here? This is the 4th and 5th floor of the Chicago Board of Trade, and this is Peak 6 Investments. So little old me, I was going to do some consulting for them, and they said on the phone with my first brief, they're like, well, we're an equity options firm, and here's what we do. I'm like, I know what equity options are. I have a strangle on Google right now. I have a bull put spread on Apple, and I have a long call diagonal with a protected put on Goldman Sachs. And they're like, excuse me? Short story long, worked with them over a weekend, and then they said, when do you start? I'm like, what do you, I'm Joe, retail trader, man. They're like, no. Everything that you told us this weekend about what you learned flying fighters that you applied to your trading, we want in this firm. Now, I got to be honest with you, man. Everybody on here, I was looking around for cameras because I really thought I was Valentine in trading places. I thought, these 2 rich white people were betting $1 on me, and they actually ended up both losing that dollar. So little old me on a plane up to Chicago, there I am. I was the managing director of strategy for Peak 6 Investments, at the time, a $2.5 billion vol arb firm. After that, for about a year, they said, you know what, Whiz, we need a media company, a financial media company. You ever built one of those? I'm like, no. They're like, build one. I did it. I built the Options News Network. Many of you have heard of that, the ONN TV, Options News Network. We were the CNBC for options. I went from essentially me to 80,000 of you in about a year. We shot on the floor of the CBO, the CBOT, giving you guys behind-the-scenes look at unusual options activity. You know, like John and Pete Najarian do, good buddies of mine, on CNBC. I led that charge, and I turned that company from 0 to 25 million bucks in a year and had an absolute blast. And obviously, rounding out my resume, one of the most important jobs is my commanding officer of a beautiful squadron there, and my pride and joy. So, again, for the folks that are saying performance, where's the trades, you might as well split now, because if you didn't want to sit through and listen to who this guy is, why the hell would you place a trade that I look at tomorrow morning? I just don't understand some tactical people or retail traders. And maybe that's why you fail, and maybe that's why you haven't ended up here at TGO. Like I said, Fish has been here 4 years. We got people here. A lot of my veterans come to these over and over again, and we get closer. So again, for all the tactical traders going, what's your performance in 2006? We're going to get to that, guys. Don't you want to know who's behind this thing? I would. So if you wouldn't, you're not going to fit in here. I'm telling you, don't waste your time right now. Arthur, welcome back, Whiz, to the real United States of America. I couldn't agree more. All right, here we go, guys. Let's get airborne into some more tactical stuff. 7 years of service. We've trained. We don't educate. If you're looking for financial education, go to a Stanford or go listen to Pocahontas up at Harvard with her $400,000 a year job. Thousands of traders and investors of all experience levels, combat tested and Wall Street proven methodologies that demo do. Tonight, I'm going to demonstrate our trade plan that you should have. Tomorrow morning, we're going to do in a live trade brief and put this on, okay? Richard, Optionetics was one of the biggest Ponzi schemes out there. Okay, here's whoever asked for performance. Here it is, bro. Sorry I had to tell you a little bit about myself, but here's the performance in 2016, so strap in. Okay. Mark, we'll send out the replay for you. So if I know if you can't stick around long, don't worry about it. You'll get a replay for everything and any of this. So here's what we have to cheers for. 2016 was our best returns on risk since getting airborne in 2010. Now I'm not going to, I shit you negative. A lot of those came from November and December. Why? Because we were right. I nailed this, man, throughout the fall, and we positioned our sales appropriately, and we printed money. You ready? First, let's talk about hedge funds. If you're sitting here going, hey, this guy might be good, but I'd rather be in a hedge fund. Really? 2016, out of nearly 2,500 hedge funds, 6.2% return. Their best year in 2013 was 11. Seriously, folks? Here you go. This is the primary live trade brief that you're going to get access to tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. $1.88. All of the model portfolios you're going to see this week are based on an initial account size of $100,000. Why do we pick 100 grand and not 50? Whiz, I got 10. I got 10 million. I don't care. Not a financial advisor. Can't give you financial advice. We picked 100 because it seemed to be right down the middle. Okay. Now we crushed it. Look at some of those positions on there. Again, you're going to see that tomorrow. Now, it was too much for this slide. You see, there's a slider on the right here. There are losses. Gasp. I'm going to show you first thing tomorrow morning the losing trades, because if you come to these things and they're like, all we do is print money, all we do is win-win, we're awesome, leave immediately or give them their money and lose all your money. I'll show you the losses tomorrow. It didn't fit on the slide. There's some slides on this one, or losses on the next two portfolios. 125% return on risk. What does that mean, folks? If you're a stock trader, listen to me for a second. If I have a $100,000 portfolio, okay, but I'm only using 50 grand of it, 50's in cash, I'm just not trading it. If you have a 100 grand portfolio and you're fully invested, there's not one penny left, you're a fool. So usually in the portfolios you're going to see, I'm only using about half of that capital. I'm only deploying on average about $40 to $50 to maybe $60,000 in risk. Okay? So this is what that means. Okay? Let's do that. Losses don't fit on the slide. What crap? Change the spacing. Roberta, oh good, she left. Do me a favor and leave. I'm going to show you them tomorrow. Here's the losses, and she already left. So thank you, Roberta. Didn't want you to be here anyway. So here we go. Let's go. Here is the weekly options and the urgent alert portfolio. This is two portfolios combined. $1.06. And Roberta, who I can see when people leave. I love when people like that leave. She would have annoyed the shit out of me. 106% return on risk, 121 grand-ish. There's a couple losses on that portfolio. And finally, this is embarrassing, folks. Stay with me. This is my worst performing portfolio in 2016. Accelerated retirement, 100 grand. Let me get a show of hands in here. Is there anybody who would like to be in the accelerated retirement type of portfolio, would have liked 100% return on risk last year? That's my embarrassment portfolio. I eked out a triple digit. Me, exactly. All right, good. Her loss. We only want good people in the squadron. Thanks, Fish. I appreciate that. Yeah, and it's funny because this initial in brief, I love weeding out the people who are like, where's the trades? Where's the performance? Why didn't you just squeeze it into one slide? I didn't want to squeeze it because it looks like shit, Roberta, so do me a favor and leave. All right, so here we go. We're outperforming the top 20 hedge funds and smart money. Now, of course, like I said, Roberta left, and here's where she would have smiled, or maybe it was a he, I don't care. And you know what's funny? As soon as Trump put his hand on the Bible and then so help me God and put his hand down, you know what the first thing I thought was? And with that, we know, again, what bathroom to use. Folks, we lose some battles at Top Gun Options. I know that's shocking. I have losing trades. The objective is to win the war. Okay, I closed an XLE bull put spread because oil crude slid today. I closed it for a 50% loss on my risk. I'm like, let's get out. I got an Apple Iron Condor that's up $2,000. So who cares? We need to win the war, folks. Losing trades happen. Let me channel my inner Rumsfeld right now. There are unknown unknowns. Let me give you a perfect example of this. And it does bum me out that people bail out and don't hear this slide. Maybe I'll move it up. I remember this vividly because it sucks. Weekly options, Monday at 1 o'clock, Google Iron Condor, things are looking great. Put it on. All right, guys, I'm out. Market's closed. 4:05, I'm on the treadmill, and I'm watching. I watch Comedy Central. I watch CNBC, folks, for this, I will be honest, for the entertainment value. At 4:06, breaking news, Google has announced a name change from Google to Alphabet, and the stock's up 5.6% in after-hours trading. My initial reaction was to laugh. Well, Whiz, the risk on that trade was $5,000. You lost $5,000. Yeah, I did. That was an unknown unknown. Ladies and gentlemen, in combat, this is going to be very dark for some of you. If somebody gets shot down in my squadron because of something they could have prevented, and they were an idiot because they either didn't plan for it or see it or just did it wrong, we'll toast them at the officers club and say, that sucks that they're dead. And then we'll look around and under our breath go, they deserved it. This wasn't that case. If you spend hours planning and if you have everything airtight and you're over Syria and all of a sudden here comes a missile up from something the agency didn't see, the satellites, it's okay. That's when we toast and go, that's a shit sandwich they got, okay? So know that's why I laughed, okay? That's why I laughed. So I was like, crap. But here's the deal, man. We get out of things. Those missiles happen, folks. I'm going to tell you. A lawsuit out of the blue. Tomorrow morning you wake up and the CFO of one of your positions is on an airplane to the Cayman Islands with all the cash. That's a lot of risk in single stocks. That's why I don't like trading a lot of single stocks. I like ETFs, okay? So, Greg, a couple months ago, or last month or a month and a half ago when Trump started doing hey, we might have a trade war or maybe even a shooting war with China, I've been so long-term bullish on China, folks, you can't believe about it. And I'm like, you know what, guys? We need to bail, man. I'm the super China bull, but if this is going to get rough, get out. Greg, hey, Whiz, man, I took my $4,850 profit on FXI, which is the iShares Shanghai, the large cap. Long call diagonal on the first day you said to close it. Nice advice. So that's not a lost battle, but that's me saying, hey, I'm seeing it's going to get ugly. All right. Now, let's get even cooler here. Our Top Gun Options methodology. This isn't rocket surgery, but you might want to, again, screenshot and take some notes after you print them out and we're done and you watch the replay. Here's our methodology, folks. Mad Dog Mattis uses it. General Kelly, I use it in the military. I use it in trading. Strategic, Operational, Tactical, SOT. What do I mean by this? Out of the nearly 4,000 people we have registered, record for Full Throttle, most of you are very average retail traders. Not I'm talking about in performance, I'm talking about in thinking. You're not strategic. You wake up tomorrow morning, put on your bunny slippers, have a sip of coffee, and there's some guy with a nice suit talking about Tesla. It's great. I'd sell my mother-in-law. Of course you would. Mortgage your house, sell the kids, get long Tesla. Phenomenal. You're like, I believe him. 2 weeks later, Tesla's bankrupt or the stock's down 50%. You deserve everything bad. You're very tactical. You didn't look through a lot of what we call strategic, operational, tactical things. Strategic. Tomorrow morning at 10, I'm going to give you a 15-minute strategic brief. What's going around the globe? How many of you woke up on a Friday morning and the futures are down 100 points? You're like, Thursday was great. Oh, well, China came out last night with their GDP, retail sales, industrial production, and they sucked. and it rippled across the Pacific and hit us. You have to know what's going on with Europe. Mario Draghi, the Brexit, Italian banks. 2.5 years ago, folks, could any of you point out the island of Cyprus in the Mediterranean? I could. Remember when their banks imploded, and now Greece? Remember the Greek drama? We made 35 grand trading weekly options in a month. Hey, they voted to say and do everything that Merkel asks. No, we're not. We're not going to do any of it. Market implodes. I'm like, they're going to boot them out of the EU. No, they're not. We traded that sine wave forever. You have to know what's going on. Anybody remember what happened to the market when Putin invaded Crimea and then eastern Ukraine, or when he shot down an airliner? You have to know strategically what's going on. Then after 15 minutes, I'm going to get operational. We're going to peel back the onion, we call it, and I'm going to talk about domestically. What's advanced GDP on Friday going to look like? What did Trump tweet out today? Who did he meet with this morning? CEOs, and then he met with union members. What's Janet Yellen saying? Well, there's another Fed lieutenant speaking at 1 o'clock today. How are core durable goods looking? What are earnings looking like? We get operational. And then, folks, and only then can we get tactical and trade. That's why for the handful of people who already split, they're shitty retail traders. They're very tactical. Give me some trades, Whiz. You ain't gonna get that. In my trade briefs, you're gonna about 15 to 30 minutes, and you're gonna be an admiral. You're gonna be General Mattis. I'm the stupid lieutenant with a ton of intel to brief you on, and then we can get tactical. Make sense? It doesn't to the folks who just left, which I love the fact that they leave. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the nice words. Okay, so good. Got a lot of. I'm amongst friends here, or new friends. Folks, trading's combat, man. At the end of the day, you don't want to be this dude. We're not going to go down in flames. And if we do get shot, like, on my XLE bull put spread today, I'm like, we have an ejection seat. Let's get out. We know when we're going to get out, okay? Now, here's where you need to pull out pen, paper, and start listening to me, okay? Look at this acronym. Let's go. Arthur, good point. I appreciate that, man. Sometimes I feel like I'm in a squadron again, so thanks for the guidance there, man. Richard, I want to be like you, but know if I'm intelligent enough. Arthur and Richard, I appreciate the comments here. So let's get started here. Write down this acronym. As a military guy, I use a lot of acronyms. Tomorrow is the PLTB, the Primary Live Trade Brief. This acronym made us a lot of money in 2017. This is where we deployed a lot of our assets in our portfolios with this acronym. It was to fear 2016. I changed some of the letters, and here we go. Robert, hey, Whiz, I'm a friend, but just for last, where are the trades? Exactly. I know you're a member, so I'm not going to yell at you. So again, folks, we were one of the only financial firms, Jeffrey Gunlock from Double Line Capital. I know he did, and there was I forget, his name escapes me, a middle hedge fund. And little old Whiz, I don't want to run a hedge fund. I love doing this. We predicted this. Well, I wasn't old enough to predict that. I predicted this. And I remember a couple of my members saying, hey, Whiz, this is September, October, November. Like, why are you so, you kind of change your tone a little bit. I'm like, guys, do not believe anything that you're being told. I speak around this country. I give keynotes. I get, all over the place. Frontline, they're lying. I go to the cocktail reception after a keynote to McKesson in Vegas, 1,500 salespeople. People are looking left and right when they're like, I'm going to vote for Trump. They're whispering it. They're terrified. Who answers the phone at 9 o'clock at night to talk to a pollster? The unemployed. I knew. And the fact that Citigroup, folks, came out with a report a couple days before the election that said, Clinton wins, and if Trump wins by some act of God, the market's imploding 5%. That day I said they're full of it. They're absolutely full of it. Trump is going to win, and the market's going to absolutely pop. To the tune of, I closed one of my JP Morgan trades right after the election. This was an accelerated retirement, folks. $35,000 profit in 15 months. That trade averaged $2,300 per month. Why? Because I knew. In the fall, we're going to talk about Goldman Sachs tonight, maybe tomorrow. In the fall, I said, guys, Trump is going to win, and the financials are going to have a rip-your-face-off rally. Some of my competitors, dude, what are you, stupid? couple of them aren't in business anymore because a lot of their members are currently here. So yeah, Make America Great Again was a code word. You had to look around. You don't want to be called a racist. We printed money, folks. I had an absolute blast. I also said the Brexit, which we printed money around, we traded VXX, we traded vol going into the Brexit, and we traded vol going into this election. We had a blast, folks. I predicted the Brexit would be just like the election, okay? We would have this sharp pullback. There it is going in. And I said we'd have a rip your face off rally, a little bit of a pullback, and then continue. You guys can get on board, watch the recordings, watch all of my stuff, rip your face off rally, a little bit of a pullback, and then we're going to head higher. Or channel like this. If you look to the right of this chart, which I can pull up in a couple minutes, what have we been doing right now? Here was a December pullback right around Christmas, in between Christmas and New Year's, and we've been doing this. I'm going to show you this chart, and it's the Brexit to the right. We nailed it. And the reason I'm pounding this is because this was a career call for me, man. I hung it out there. So when my members were like, dude, you all right? I'm like, I'm just really bummed that people are actually listening to the lies that are coming out of the media. They were telling you, and the polls and skewed, and it was awful. So now I feel great. Phone's not ringing off the hook. Journal wants to do an interview. Comedy Central called. I said no to them. I'm waiting for Fox Business News to call. Okay, so the T into fear is Trump. Now let me ask you guys, because I want to sip on my peanut noir. What is another T we could put under Trump that we have to keep an eye on in 2017? What is another T? A terrible Fed. Scott, okay. TLT, nope. I like that, Alan. That's good. James got one of them. Taiwan. Terror was one of them. Tax is a good one. TPP gone. How about that, guys? You ready for this one? I think I led you down the wrong path here. Tweet. One of the things we have to look at in 2017 are tweets. Lockheed, Boeing, China, all of these guys. You think GM? They woke up one day. Did you think they expected to be tweeted by tweet attacked by Trump? So taxes is one of them. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Taiwan was great. Whoever brought that up. Hell, man, we might have a shooting war soon. We're going to talk a little bit about Asia. So nice job there. Treasury, that was a good one too. The O into fear is oil. Does everybody remember where they were this time last year? Remember last December and January, we did this. We imploded in December and January because oil went down to what? Through 30, down to 29, 26 bucks. Everybody remember this? Oil? 30-buck oil. You're right, Tracy. Let me pull up a couple good things here. Let's go over some oil stuff. And this cracks me up, man, the oil. OPEC. And I'm not, I hate saying this, like, well, you know what, Trump won, so I'm not going to say this. I'm not being racist. I've lived in Saudi Arabia for 3 months. I was stationed in Riyadh. I've been to Kuwait. I've been to Oman, Bahrain, UAE, Dubai, about 20. I've been to the Middle East. I've flown. I've been there, folks. They're all a bunch of liars. OPEC sits at a big table with a lot of flowers on it. They all go, yeah, production cuts. You got it, man. They get on their plane. They land in their country. They get off the plane and go, you wouldn't believe what I said we were going to do as far as production cuts. Open the spigots. Does that oil, look at this. First of all, the headline. OPEC has a deal. Will its members cheat? Hint, the answer is yes. OPEC praises production cuts. Yes, everybody's cutting. But guess what? There's not going to be any penalties for if you violate it. Oil output. Cuts proceeding faster than planned. Although last week Brazil said, yeah, we're out. And does anybody remember after the last deal back in August? Anybody remember what Iran said? No. Guys, we just got our sanctions removed thanks to Manchurian candidate Obama. We're full speed. What are you talking about? We're going to pump until the cows come home. So we're going to trade oil, but you have to keep an eye on the price of oil here in 2017. Last December, January, if you didn't, you got hit by the financial tsunami of 2008. That was the oil tsunami of 2015, 2016. we will keep an eye on oil, and I'll brief you on that as we go forward. So, Tracy, yeah, Saudis are the biggest cheats. It's so, it's awful. It's absolutely awful, but it's comical. Everybody thinks that yay, production cuts, and then it comes out that they're all cheating. Take a look at the chart of the XLE, man. I mean, seriously, I have this iron condor up. We need to talk about this in a second. The XLE, it's a great iron condor candidate. Let me just show you this. Let's go out a little bit of time on the XLE. So here was so we traded some nice iron condors here because energy's all, it's all over the place. Nice and range bound. And then the XLE moves on something. It moved on this deal. Hey, we have an agreement. And then what's it do? It starts channeling again until, hey, we're all lying, or yeah, everybody agreed to production cuts. We'll talk more about this. I don't want to drop anchor on oil, but know that into fear in my acronym is oil. Okay. Again, I can't spend all night on this stuff. We're gonna move. No worries, guys. Yeah. All right, here we go. The F in to fear is the Fed. Now, unless you've been living on the other side of bars for the past 3 years, 5 years, the Fed, the evil 1% have gotten 1% or eviler. From Ben Bernanke pumping $85 billion a month in there with quantitative easing 1, 2, Operation Twist, Operation whatever it was, QE3, and these near zero interest rates for years. The stock market is not the economy, folks. Stock market up, economy, macroeconomic data in the gutter. So here's the reason I care about the Fed. First of all, financials. They're going to start printing money. Sorry, good night, Princess. Love you. Sorry, guys. Doing the webinar from home, and she's got her I Love the Irish Notre Dame shirt on. Sorry about that. Financials are going to start printing money. We're going to talk financials in a couple seconds here, but interest rates lifting off finally is going to be awesome for financials. Couldn't be more bullish on the financials. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan positions I'm going to show you tomorrow and throughout the week, and we're going to put on new ones. Now is the time to get into, well, now is not the time. Now is the time to get into financials. You should have gotten into financials when I told my members in September, October, November. I'm going to show you one of our guys is up $111,000. Diane's up 40 grand. These aren't like 5 contracts, guys. These aren't swinging big capital here. Letting her wear the Irish shirt. Exactly. So the Fed. The other reason I bring the Fed up now is because unlike in the past Fed events going into it, we would get bullish on volatility. Why? Whenever you hear the word volatility going forward this week, delete, cut, paste, uncertainty as your word. Volatility goes up on uncertainty. So when we'd go into a Fed meeting and people are like, oh, we don't know if she's going to raise rates. VIX up, bullish double vertical on VXX. She gets ready to come to the microphone. We roll inverted and we do a bearish double vertical on VXX. Whether it was the Brexit, the Fed meeting, or the election, our volatility trades were in fuego. Don't know if it's going to be like that in 2017 because when we go into these Fed meetings, it's kind of maybe assume she's going to raise rates, but I still think volatility is going to be a potential trade around that. We'll talk about it going down the road. Financials. The other kind of F into fear, the other F we'll do is financials. Goldman Sachs. Write these down, folks. The gold medal winner in the financials to get into right now, Goldman Sachs. Number 1. They printed money in earnings, top and bottom, like they hit 508 earnings per share and they were looking for 482, whatever it was. Lloyd Blankfein, hell of a guy. Goldman Sachs. I'm going to tell you why we're also going to be long Goldman Sachs in 30 seconds. JP Morgan, they're the silver medalist. Jamie Dimon runs a hell of a ship. Matter of fact, Jamie Dimon was who? Trump's first call to be Treasury Secretary. You know what he said? I make more money doing this and I might run for president. You got to be bullish on a CEO and a company that was called to be the Treasury Secretary. Morgan Stanley, bronze medalist. So I have positions in Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and the XLF, the basket of ETFs. Why do I say Goldman Sachs is my gold medalist? You ready for this? First of all, wait, let me pull this guy over here. Does anybody know that there are 2 potential cabinet officers and 2 high-level advisors from Goldman Sachs. Now, in the full interest of disclosure, guys, in a moment of seriousness, I always disclose these things. My sister is one of the handful of partners at Dune Capital Management. Steve Mnuchin came from Dune Cap. He came from Goldman Sachs, and then he was with my sister at Dune. I know Steve. Had dinner with Steve. Great guy. He wants to roll back Frank and Dodd-Frank. I call it Frank and Dodd, and gut it. So we have two Goldman Sachs guys potentially in the cabinet and a guy and a gal as senior advisors. Does anybody think Goldman Sachs is going to zero anytime soon? It's almost like we have a Goldman Sachs put under our position. Interest rates going up, 4 Goldman Sachs alumni in there, lower financial regulation. With Mnuchin coming from Dune Capital and Goldman, he knows what rules he wants to gut so they can be more profitable. And the final thing with financials is what? Corporate tax rates. Look at Apple, guys. Apple could loan money to God. Literally. It's like in Ireland. Bring the cash back, guys. Lower the corporate tax rates. That's why we're going to be bullish on the financials. The Fed and all these reasons, guys. I love Goldman Sachs. Like I said, I'll show you later in the week, or maybe tomorrow you can see some of your fellow members. You know, I put on this Goldman Sachs trade a month ago. It's up $5,000. And I'm embarrassed about it. Okay, Whiz, $5,000 in a month. Can I, you're embarrassed? Thanks, dude. With only $9,000 of risk, I'm up $5,000. Why am I embarrassed? Because I told my members to get long. I tried this trade for 3 months in a row, September, October, November. Why didn't I get filled? I didn't want to pay full price for the damn trade, and I'm kicking myself. Diane, Scott, Chuck. Chuck's up 111 grand. Diane's about 40. Scotty's around 36 to 40 with Diane. Here's Whiz with $5,000 because I finally decided to pay full price for my muffler in December. Furious at myself. So, Dan, I'll cover that tomorrow. I go out to look at this trade, guys. This is out to January of 2019. This trade is 2 years to work, folks. What do you think this trade? I just showed you a JP Morgan trade that I closed in December for $35,000 in gains. Didn't plan to do this, but let me show you my JP Morgan trade in the accelerated retirement portfolio. Because I know all my we're the trades people. Again, men lie, numbers don't. Let's go accelerated retirement for a second and look at my current JP Morgan trade. And yes, I would put these on tomorrow. We're going to put them on this week. So let me get out of the primary live trade brief, and we'll go with our accelerated retirement. Yes, absolutely. I'd put these trades on. I'll look at them tomorrow. Richard, absolutely, man. All right, let me. So this is. Let's get the positions up. JP Morgan. This trade right here. That's up 15 grand in 5 months. That's averaging $3,000 a month. Nice job, Wiz. Wrong portfolio. Urgent alert. So the answer is yes to you guys saying, oh my God, can we get into these trades right now? Absolutely. Okay. Yes, Arthur. What is the recommended minimum trading account? I'm going to get into that tomorrow, guys, as I place real trades. Might not have time to get into that tonight. The recommended account size, I think Options House, in order to open a margin account, you need $2,000. Folks, you can trade options for as little as $2,000. But again, guys, I don't give personal trading advice, folks. When you show up to my live trade brief tomorrow, here's what you're going to be doing. You're literally going to be standing behind me like you're on the floor of the SIBO and eavesdropping. Okay, what's Wiz doing? How many contracts? Well, if he's doing 5 and his risk is 10 grand in this trade, I'm doing 1 contract. Here it is. Look at this JP Morgan trade, $22,000. It's up 22 grand right now, and it has a year to go. A year to go. I showed you the one I closed for 35 grand. I think this is going to be another 30. This might even be a $40,000 trade, folks. And for those of you that are sitting here going, oh my God, you must be, look at what I'm risking. $7,000. Wiz, I can't risk that. Well, I got 10 contracts, man. How about 5? Okay, I could risk $3,500 on JP Morgan. It ain't going out of business tomorrow, folks. So I digress. I just wanted to show you some of the financials trades. It's Again, Arthur, it's a $100,000 model portfolio. And I'm going to get in the SOP here about my personal rules on trading. So let's move here because we'll get into the trade plan. For Christ's sake, here it was. Why didn't I just come to this slide? So let's look at the current member gains on Goldman Sachs. Everybody ready? There's Mike. Mike is up 111 grand on Goldman Sachs. Chuck, 16 grand. He got into the October trade. 2 months. Al, so for all the folks who are like, oh, Whiz, you have 5 contracts. These guys might have 5 or 10. Al, 6 grand. 1 contract, Al. Anybody like to make 6 grand in a month? Okay. How about over here, Diane? Here's Chuck, 19K in 3 months. Oh, this is a newer one. Diane, 36 grand. Harry, 60 grand. And Fuego, I don't think that's his name, 11 grand. And here's the embarrassment known as Whiz, 5. 5 grand. There's my members. Do as I say, not as I do. All right, we got to move, folks. E. The E into fear is Europe. The Brexit, folks. Theresa May's coming Friday to Washington. The Brexit, I knew it, folks. I knew it. We made about 12 grand going into the Brexit, trading VXX, and about 8 on the way out for about total of 20 trading volatility. Listen to me, I was wrong on the Brexit. I thought it was a coin toss. Going into it like an idiot before with the Brexit, folks, that was my life-defining event. I said, I will never look at another poll again. I should have went with my gut. I'm like, the Brits are kind of independent, but it says they're most likely leaning to stay. I think they'll get nervous. They left. I was wrong, and we made 20 grand. You could be wrong and still make money by trading volatility, by trading the uncertainty around the Brexit. So we're going to have to keep an eye on Europe and the Brexit. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Okay, the other E into fear is earnings. Okay, Dan, will we be able to trade just long calls or puts to make these large profits? I don't ever trade just a call or a put. I do spreads and a bunch of other stuff. You're going to learn this all week. Okay, so save Kurt. I'm not a big calendar guy, but the guy you're going to meet later in the week is Joe Calendar. His name's Doug Robertson, not Joe Calendar, but you get what I'm saying. Let me talk earnings real quick because I know this is a big one. The E into fear. Let's go over here real quick. Some good reading here. Earnings. Right here, earnings. So here's what's funny, folks. Earnings season. 27 of 42 companies so far have cited the Trump administration and said earnings are going to get better. Why? Wiz just told you about 5 minutes ago. Tax policy. We're getting our taxes cut, man. That goes right to the bottom line. Regulation. One of these CEOs told Trump, he's like, I have an entire compliance department. I have almost as many workers in my regulation department as I do building stuff. Trade policy. All this stuff is going to change. So all these people who are like, well, Wiz, I think that it's had a good run and, I think things are going to cool off here. They're wrong. The same idiots who predicted Hillary Clinton winning, God save us if that happened, are also the ones that are saying they missed out on the rally. So of course at the top of this rally, they're going to go, well, you need to throttle back here a little bit. And folks, here's another thing that I didn't cover. Buybacks. What symbol is this? Apple. The other reason this boom is going to continue is with the $200 quadrillion Apple has sitting in County Cork, Ireland, they're going to be buying back their shares. Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan, I think, put $5 million of his own cash back in, let alone the company buying back. But earnings are going to start getting better, folks. So the other E into fear is earnings. All right, we'll talk about this throughout the week. Thursday, when you're trading with Doug Robertson, he actually sent out an earnings trade today to his members. He's like, Wiz, should I send this out to the new folks? I'm like, no. I haven't even talked to him yet. You're going to confuse the hell out of them. So you didn't see any earnings trade today. The members did. The A into fear is Asia. Whew, man, folks, for the past couple years, have been super bullish on China and Asia. Why? You're going to hear me say this, especially with the R coming up into fear. The R is going to make some of you, it's going to make your skin crawl. It makes my skin crawl. but not in the suit that I wear when I'm trading. I have 2 suits at Top Gun Options. You might see me Thursday in one of mine because I have career day with my daughter, and I got to run from the webinar. I wear a flight suit. There are some trades where I go, you know what, as an American, this trade sucks, and it pisses me off. And then I'll step out of that flight suit and jump into a $6,000 Armani. That's a joke. I don't have one. A $6,000 Armani suit and go, I don't care. If people are being stupid around the world, I'm going to make money on it. That's what I need to do as a portfolio manager. So China's a perfect example. Human rights suck. They torture people. Don't get me started on China. Wearing my flight suit, I sailed the Pacific on the way to the Persian Gulf. I did exercises about defending Taiwan, and I've been trained to shoot down Chinese fighter jets, folks, so don't get me started about China. But at the end of the day, they're our banker. If they call up Trump, or if they had called up Obama halfway through and said, yeah, we want all our I used to joke with Rick Santelli, hey, Rick, what if nobody shows up today for your bond offering? What if nobody buys our debt, Rick? He's like, Whiz, that's my nightmare. They own us, folks. Japan's a close, either tied for first or second as the largest foreign holder of our debt. However, they got a zillion people, folks. Those zillion people need iPhones. They need this, they need that. So I've been, for 3 or 4 years, super bullish on China. Here comes Donald Trump. Holy crap. He appoints a couple of China hawks to his cabinet. He starts firing, trade war stuff. Apple starts going, you know what? China's worrying us a little bit. We might need to go to India. Oh boy. So like I showed you on that one slide, I said, guys, we might need to throttle. I'm the Super Bowl out of China, but for now, we're out of FXI. Let's take our profits and run. Let's see if there is going to be a trade war with China, okay? There might be, folks. Let's take a look at the FXI real quick, okay? Let's take a look at the FXI because I want to show you exactly where we did it. All right, there we got some FXI positions in here. FXI, like I said, if you don't know, is the iShares China Large Cap ETF. So let's go to the 3-month chart. This is funny. Look at this. You ready? Let me just drawing again. November, right here. Here's the election. Holy crap, Trump won. No, I can work with anybody. I like trade deals and everything like that. Okay, we stole your drone away from one of your naval ships and, put your big boy pants on. You want to have a shooting war? And no, we're not. Okay, and now we're kind of wallowing here. So I'm not going to, right here, I can chart it. Right there is the day I said it was, yep, right around December 9th, 8th or 9th. I said, get out of FXI. Only guys at cocktail parties do this. Yeah, I said to get out here. I didn't. We started to slide downhill. I'm like, Trump's scaring me with China. He's unscaring me. Here's what really scares me, though. Did anybody, it's not your job to watch this. I'm passionate about it. I'll watch it for you. Anybody see Rex Tillerson's confirmation hearings? You know what he said? He said, China went 600 miles off their coast, found a couple atolls in the Pacific, brought some dump trucks, made an island out of it, made an aircraft carrier out of it, and said, now China's out to here. Yeah, here's the quote. We're going to have to send China a clear signal that the island building stops, and second, your access to those islands is also not going to be allowed. If you didn't hear me, read that and let that sink in, folks. Those are war words. The Chinese Foreign Ministry the next day came out, they're like, did that guy say that? This was the same Navy who, weeks before this, went up to one of our USNS ships, United States Naval ship. Here's how we get to spying. A USNS ship is crewed by a civilian master, but it's got a lot of sailors on board. So since it's run by a civilian, we're not Navy, we're Navy. They sailed up to the boat, picked up our sonar buoy, and took it. So we might have a cold trade war, a Cold War, and we might, for God's sakes, have a shooting war if Trump wakes up one day and says Taiwan's our 51st state. We're going to have to be careful about Asia, folks, but once you get on board, we're going to trade the hell out of it. We not only do, we got out of our long call diagonals on FXI, but this is a trade here, man. Bearish double vertical, bullish double vertical, bull put spreads. We're going to have a great time, folks. This is awesome. Yeah, it does, Tracy. It takes a couple cojones. It was a nice call. I was going to say those are rare, but then you'd all think I'm an idiot. No, this is what I do, folks. You have to look strategically at these things. That's why if somebody was in FXI and wasn't paying attention to what's going on, they would have, instead of my buddy, one of our members being up $5 grand on that trade, they'd be like, hey, Whiz, why am I down $5 grand, man? Nice paying attention for me. All right. Here's the last one that I know you guys are not going to like, or some of you might not like, but I don't care because now I have my Gordon Gekko suit on. Russia. I could not be more bullish on Russia. Write this symbol down, and we'll talk about it tomorrow in the primary live trade brief. RSX, Romeo Sierra X-ray. That's the Russian ETF. Putting my flight suit on. I hate it. Barack Obama is a disgrace. He's a disgrace for a lot of reasons, but he's a disgrace for what he let happen in Ukraine. Russia, Vladimir Putin used the same language Adolf Hitler used to take back the Sudetenland. You know, there's a lot of ethnic Germans in this area. They're in danger. I got to go get them or take that territory. Putin, there's a lot of ethnic Russians in Crimea. It's kind of ours. I'm going to kind of take that. Obama, Merkel. Stop, or we'll say stop again. Well, you know what? They didn't do shit. Let's move into eastern Ukraine. Let's shoot down a civilian airliner. You know what Obama did? He sent meals ready to eat and blankets. He didn't send them on Air Force jets, our Air Force jets, because he didn't want to inflame Putin anymore. How can you inflame the guy anymore? He already invaded a sovereign country who wanted to be part of NATO, you moron. You can see when I'm putting my flight suit on, I put my flight suit on. Now let me go Gordon Gekko. I don't care. His national security advisor might be in bed with the Russians. Trump wants to work with the guy. You have to be long-term bullish, first of all, in a guy who does whatever he wants, and second of all, a guy who's going to be buddies with our president. Might implode on us, but I have positions in RSX, not in this portfolio, in another one. RSX, write that symbol down. Again, guys, it does me no... RSX, yes, correct. RSX. You have to. Let's take. You ready? Let's do another one of these. Was Whiz right and go against the conventional wisdom, or was he wrong? You're gonna learn a lot here, TGO folks, because this is why our performance is so. I love flying under the radar because I don't. All right, let's go. I think RSX in the primary portfolio. Let's take a look at that one. Right, yes, it's RSX, folks. I'm glad a lot of you haven't heard about this, which means we're going to do some good work for you here at TGO. Can you find me a trade to short Soros? There's a lot of other things I'd like to do to Soros. What a disgusting. How about Madonna? Come on, folks. I've thought many times about blowing up the White House. I really hope the Secret Service pays you a visit. RSX, folks, look at this trade. We put it on when Trump started to get in love about a month ago with Putin. This trade's up $1,100 in about a month. It's out to January of 2019. Take a look at the chart of the RSX. Let's do 6 months maybe. And guys, I'll answer your questions at the end. I'm moving here. So RSX is flat into the election, and I can be friends with them. You know what this pullback is right here, guys? The Russians hacked the election. All right, here's a 30-second rant. How the hell did the Russians hack the election and give Hillary Clinton 2.5 million popular votes? It gives me a headache. How did the Russians hack Hillary Clinton's brain or John Podesta's brain and say, don't campaign in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, or Wisconsin? Stick the hacking thing there. So this pullback was on the hack, and I said, folks, if you didn't get in when I told you get in RSX now. It's time to get in RSX, period. I'm going to tell you the tactic tomorrow on how to do that. They were good at it, I guess. Who would want to hack your brain? I'm not going to read all these comments. So exactly, guys. It's just the whole Russian hack. John Podesta's email password was password. My daughter Keely could have hacked into his account. All right, guys. So it went exactly, Doug. And just because the Republicans had their data secure, So Russia. Now, the rant is complete. My To Fear 2017 is complete. Each one of those letters has some acronyms under there where we're going to deploy our capital. One of them isn't up there, and I hate citing CNBC, but CNBC had an end of the year article that said the two best trades of 2016 were, you ready for it? Russia with the RSX and this one, Brazil. We're up 1,800 bucks. This is a January 19 trade. It's up 1,800 bucks, folks. These trades might not be the sexy weekly options we're going to trade here this week. It might not be this Apple. Look at this Apple Iron Condor I have working right here. 2,200 bucks. I put this on last Monday. We're potentially making 3,300 bucks by Friday while risking 4,200 bucks. Look at this trade right now, folks. We're up on Apple 67%, 2,200 bucks in a week. These long call diagonals, man, they're slow and steady wins the race. I trade them every week or month, and all of a sudden you wake up with a JP Morgan trade up 35 grand. So we do weekly options, we trade the front months, and we do these long ones, folks. Who doesn't want to be logged out to January 2019 on, I got an ExxonMobil trade. This is my Rex Tillerson trade. It's down a little bit with oil being down today. But if you think ExxonMobil, where Rex Tillerson spent 45 years, is going to zero by January 2019, you're wrong. As a matter of fact, they're supposed to double their profit this year. So there's my rant about To Fear 2017. We're going to, for the rest of the week, I'm going to be placing trades throughout, some of those letters, okay? And I'll read some of your comments towards the end. Again, guys, we've got 600, 700 people. Holy crap. We haven't been this high in a while here. This is awesome. You got it, guys. No more fear, sir. There isn't. We're going to print money. All right, so here we go. Guys, instead of using Option House, you can use Thinkorswim. Absolutely. Folks, you can trade with whoever the hell you want. It doesn't matter. So I'm just saying, since that's the, you're going to be learning. If I'm flying an F-18 and you're flying an F-16, we can still dogfight and stuff, but I got some different systems. You'll just have to put your trades on whatever platform. Nobody has a problem not trading with Options House. Some people who aren't really married to their platform go, this Options House one's pretty good. So, all right, here we go. Did everybody download the trade plan? Okay, you didn't have to print it out or anything like that. Maybe you can tonight because I'm going to go through the steps that I'm going to use the rest of the week and Doug's going to use as well. Okay. The T in To Fear was Trump and tweets, essentially, and terrorism, but not too much. All right, everybody's got their trade plan. Here we go. In my travels around the United States, when I speak, and even around the world, sometimes I bump into people, Whiz, you trade, I trade. I always hear you guys talk about, I need a trade plan. Yeah, most speakers say, you need a trade plan and keep track of your trades. And then they're like, thank you, good night, try the veal. I'll be here all week. And they don't give you one. I just gave you one. We're going to talk through it tonight. We're going to do it tomorrow morning. Demo, do. Demo, do, right? That's the military, okay? Demonstrate, do. Here's the 7-step trade plan. I'm going to go through each one of these steps so you don't have to freak out, scribble in right now. Again, you can take a screenshot using your camera if you need to. All right, strategic mindset, commit criteria, tactic, tactical employment, mid-course guidance, and exit plan. Okay? Here we go. Everybody should have the PDF. It's under the handouts in your little control panel there. All right? Let's go. Step 1. Before you place any trade, folks, you need to determine, Fish, tell the new people don't freak out. They will learn with classes, replays, and they will print money. Thanks, Fish. Before you place any trade, ladies and gentlemen, what are you right now? Not like, I want to trade Apple right now. No. Get your head out of the trench, man. Be a general. Put up your binoculars and go, what am I? Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Do you think the market's going to be volatile? Or are we trading sideways? There can be variations of that. You can be moderately bearish. You can be cautiously bullish. So you can throw a couple words in there, okay? Here's what the Whiz Fighter is right now. I am cautiously bullish. Okay, Whiz, that looks like a little bit of a sideways chart to be neutral. We are getting ready to get airborne again. I've called this, you want to talk about hope and change, no Obama? This is a hope and change rally. This initial rally right here was on hope. This flat here is we're waiting to see the change. The market is in a holding pattern over O'Hare right now, waiting for the Trump fog to clear. Guys, he had a hell of a first day, meeting with CEOs, meeting with labor leaders. What do you need me to do so you can hire and do better and make more money and hire people? What a freaking concept. Obama, his 6th year into his term, got rid of the President's Job Council. He got rid of it. You didn't see that in the media. I did, and I told my members about it. Cautiously bullish. The market rallied after the election on hope. God, if he gets rid of financial regulations, what if he cuts corporate tax rates? What if the Fed raises interest rates? That's going to happen, folks. The man does not strike me as a man of inaction. He strikes me as a man of action, but we're still waiting to see. Now, I hosted a trader roundtable today at 1 o'clock where 3 or 4 out of the 5 traders were kind of bearish right now. I was the bullish guy. And we're going to talk about why. So, step 1 of your trade plan before you place any trade, is what are you? I'm cautiously bullish. Now, step 2 is the target. This is simple, folks. What do you want to trade? The stock, an ETF, or an index? That's the target. Whiz, I'm cautiously bullish. My target is Apple. Boom. Steps 1 and step 2 done. Now, here's an Uncle Whiz tax tip. And here's the disclaimer. I am not your tax attorney, and I'm not an accountant. Do not trade another ETF again if there's an index. So tomorrow, like for example, I sent out a weekly options trade to my members, an S&P bull put spread this afternoon on SPX. Now about 300 of you are going to type in the chat box, Whiz, I trade SPY. You're not going to do that anymore. And even if you don't become a member by the end of the week, I just made you money. I just put money into your pocket, and you're welcome. It's, what is it, the 60-40, 70-30 tax rule? Google it. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm taking no more questions at that. Do not trade another ETF if there's an index. How many of you trade the IWM? That's stupid. You should trade the RUT. Does everybody get that? Google that. Okay? Everybody understand that? Okay? A lot of good comments in here, man. I'm dying. I haven't seen this many comments. Like I said, this is the biggest full throttle launch we've had. So these 50, Wednesday we might be done. Step 3, if you've been watching the Rangers game or clubbing in the Bahamas up until this point or enjoying your Pinot Noir, wake up. This is the most important part of your trade plan. And please, I hope you print it out and you're taking notes. You ready? Commit criteria. This is an embarrassing step for just about everybody in here except my members. Why? Ask yourself these 2 questions, please. Why am I committing capital to this trade? Why am I in this trade? Those might seem like the dumbest 2 questions, but folks, 95% of you who I meet on the road at Trader Expos or money shows, oh, Whiz, you trade Apple, I trade Apple. Okay, I got an iron condor on right now. Why? I like Apple. That's not good enough, dude. I got an iPhone. That's even dumber. Why are you committing capital to? Why are you risking $5,000 on this trade? If you can't spit out 3 to 5 sentences immediately about why you are deploying capital in this trade, you're destined for failure. I call it your cocktail party pitch. Whiz, I trade Apple. Okay, well, why are you in this iron condor? Well, Apple has earnings coming up, I believe, on the 31st. Apple tends to channel into earnings. They enter a quiet period. They're not going to release the iPhone 92 with the teleportation device. It's going to channel into earnings, so I sold a bull put spread last Monday, and middle of the week I put on a bear call spread, and it's looking great. Bang! At the end of your 3 to 5 sentences, I should be looking at you going, why am I not in that trade? Do me a favor, not tonight, or if you have time, do it tonight or before tomorrow morning you get on my webinar. Look at every position in your portfolio tomorrow morning, and see if you can ripple off 3 to 5 sentences of your commit criteria. I guarantee you most of you can't. tomorrow morning, I get comments all the time like, you know, Wiz, I struggled through a couple of them and it made me wonder why I'm still in it. You ready? If at any time your commit criteria changes, what should you do? Folks, you either adjust the trade or eject. Get out of the airplane, man. Why are you in this trade if the reason you're committing capital to it is gone? How many of you have done this? Oh man, I got an Apple iron condor, on right now, and Apple's going down, but Apple doesn't hate me. Apple loves me. It'll come back up. First of all, Apple doesn't care who you are. They'd steamroll over your entire house and family. And that's the emotion talking. Look at the top left of that slide. Discipline, risk management results in superior execution. If your reason for going into this mission, this combat today changes, why are you still pressing down range like an idiot? Perfect example I told you with FXI. Hey, members, my commit criteria and my strategic mindset have changed on FXI. I am out. Let's eject and take our $5 grand in profits. We could have adjusted it, but I said no. This Trump, I don't know what's going to happen next. Does everybody understand this? I took a lot of time on this slide for a reason. For a reason. Okay? So, oh, thanks, Harry. I was there. Very different insight. It's nice going against the grain and being right. Keep up the great work, Wiz. Top Gun Options. Thanks, Harry. So, let's move on to step 4, the tactic. This is easy, folks. First of all, even if you don't join by the end of the week, for the rest of your options trading career, you will never use the word, hey, I love this option strategy. There is no such thing as an option strategy, folks. It is a tactic. An iron condor, a bull put spread, a long call diagonal, covered calls are tactics. A strategy is saving for retirement, short-term income generation, risk management, buying a boat in 6 months. Those are strategies. Tactics support a strategy. Remember my pyramid? Strategic, operational, tactical. Everybody get that? An iron condor on Apple that I am trading is a tactic. How do we select a tactic, Wiz? You ready? I just told you, based on our strategic mindset and commit criteria. Look at this Apple trade. Apple, let me show you the chart. This is like shooting fish in a barrel, folks. Look at this Apple chart. Here is December. Let me click 3 months. You ready? Here's what Apple does in December. Look historically at Apple and send me a bottle of wine because I'm right. December, halfway through the month. Hey, it's been a good Christmas, good run. Apple stores are packed. Levels off through Christmas. January, beginning of January, looks like everything was good. Getting initial sales data, everything looks good to go. And then what's it do? Apple historically has earnings towards the end of January. So guess what it does? It channels into earnings. Like I said, they don't come out with the iPhone 92 this week, folks. Tim Cook doesn't come out and say X, Y. Rarely does something happen. Now, they did come out and sue Qualcomm the other day. I was like, ooh, didn't do anything. So ladies and gentlemen, my members are looking at, by Friday, they're up $2,200 since last Monday on a risk of $4,200. Wiz, I can't risk $4,200. You're high. What could you risk? About $2,000. I did 75 contracts. Einstein, maybe you do 30. So again, if somebody asked earlier, what's the perfect account size for TGO? I don't know, folks. Here's one of my rules of engagement. I was going to get into it in the next slide, but I'll do it now since we're looking at this live. This unhappy dude you're going to get very friendly with this week. Not me, I'm talking about him. I'm very happy. I have an SOP, standard operating procedure, just like in the fighter squadron. In my accounts, I do not want to risk more than 5% on any one trade. 5% of 100 grand is $5,000. Why? Why not? I picked that number after 26 years of trading options. That's what I'm comfortable with. If I wake up tomorrow and Apple is at 0 because Tim Cook turns out to be the Antichrist and I lost $5,000, I go, well, that sucked, but I have 95 grand left. You have to come up with your own SOP. So throughout the week, when you see me placing a trade, I'm going to go, okay, max potential loss is $5,200. That's right around $5,000. Don't sit there and go, well, I'm out of TGO. Bye, Wiz. I only have 10 grand. Then don't risk more than $1,000. Maybe you do 15 contracts. I don't know. You have to scale. Does everybody get that? because it breaks my heart at the end of the week. Some guys are like, oh, I couldn't sign up. You know, I have a smaller account. I'm like, did you not pay attention for most of the week, or did I not explain it? Okay. Exactly, Arthur, you nailed it perfectly. Good. All right, guys, good. So again, for a couple folks who are like, man, I only have like 12 grand to do this. I can't. Whiz is swinging around 100 grand. First of all, I'm not. Where's my summary? Look at this. I'm not full of it. I'm only deploying about 55 grand, folks. The rest is in cash. So this is at risk. So again, I'm not deploying my full 55 grand. Everybody good? Okay. Ragu, that is incorrect. Those are phantom positions, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. That is not negative 36 grand year to date. This EWJ call, the Options House platform has some phantom positions. Look at this. You see this Morgan Stanley call? It's from March. So no, that is not correct. I'll show you. Performance, that would be completely embarrassing. Look at this year to date. XLK is down 16 grand, Ragu. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Here's my XLK positions. Up $9,500. There was a phantom XLK position in here on January 1st that they still haven't cleared out. So everybody see this? So no, that's incorrect. That is not down 36 grand. I've been on with support for 2 days. Good catch though. That was a smart dude. All right, we got to move. So the tactic, and folks, if you're here tonight and have a basic understanding of options, if I buy a call, I'm bullish. If I buy a put, I'm bearish. Welcome home. I will take you, and Doug, who you'll meet Wednesday night, we're going to make you a Jedi Master. If you know what a call and a put is, you're home. Don't sit here going, oh my God, calendars, reverse strangles with a double butterfly twist. Don't worry about it. Primary, intermediate, advanced, get your wings, go out to the fleet. That's how we're going to teach you. Crawl, walk, run. We're not going to airdrop you in the middle of Afghanistan and get a trade alert like, here's this complex butterfly trade. That ain't going to happen, okay? So step 4 is the tactic, the trade. Step 5, how do we employ the trade? Legs. Well, Whiz, you have an iron condor, which means you legged in with a bull put spread and a bear call spread. And I also, in my trade alerts, if you gave us your cell phone number when you opted in, I'm going to text you a couple trades throughout the week, okay, just to demonstrate that you get immediate text alerts whenever we place a trade. So I also send out a range, okay? Let me show you today. Let me go to our member site here. Holy crap, people are still registering, folks. I said 3,500 people, 3,506 when we started this webinar. Let me show you the weekly options trade I sent out to my members today, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. 3570. So members, let's go to weekly options. Full throttle. Weekly options stuff. I think I'd own this place. Yeah, exactly. All right, so people are like, we know what you're talking about. So I sent out a text alert. Here's the bull put spread from today. The 2245, 2240. So here's the flow of things. As soon as I see a trade, I send out a text alert with my broadcaster. You get it within I press fire, I look at my phone, 2 seconds later, it's right there, within 2 seconds. Then I take a screenshot of the trade and I send out an email. Here's buying this leg, selling this leg, and here's the overall trade metrics, okay? So this trade I sent out today was risking just north of my SOP, 5 grand, for potentially making 1,600 bucks by Friday. That's look at this, a 73% probability that my members are going to make 1,600 bucks by Friday in this trade. Hell of a trade. I didn't get filled on it, of course. Let me ask some of my members in here. Anybody get filled on this? Any? Good. Okay, good. Up 400 bucks, Whiz. Thanks already. Okay, good. All right. Richard, I'm a cab guy. I have a Pinot Noir. I'm a big, I flew Hornets out of Central Valley in California, Paso Robles, and we used to be up at Napa all the time. So big wine guy. Tactical employment. Trade details, individual legs, and like I showed you, there's the iron condor. Now, mid-course guidance. Ladies and gentlemen, I never dropped a bomb in anger or squeezed a trigger on any trade with real capital and close my eyes and go, man, I hope that bomb hits some bad guys. Do you think we do that? How many of you sit here and go, okay, fire on the Apple iron condor. Oh my God, I hope it goes right through the uprights for max profit. Folks, hope ain't a strategy, man. Anybody? No. We're going to talk about, before we place the trade, how we're going to manage it. Oh my God, what a concept. Folks, I'm no idiot. I go out and I play secret squirrel with some of my competitors. They don't. They're like, oh, here's this Google the Throttle. I'm like, you just told them the trade. What if things go wrong? Where to take? Oh yeah, well, they need to figure that out. And that's why you suck. We contingency planned. I ask during the mid-course guidance, hey, what if Apple starts moving against us? When are we going to adjust this trade? Have a number in mind, so if it gets to that point, you don't sit there and have Mr. or Mrs. Emotion take over like, oh man, should I adjust? It says to adjust the trade. Either adjust it or get a medal on your chest for flying a fiery jet to a safe landing. How about the eject criteria? I told you I have an SOP, just like I had in the fighter squadron. When am I going to adjust the trade? I'm going to teach you this live in the market tomorrow. I know this stuff is a little dry, but hopefully I got rid of all the where are the trades and performance people. I'm going to show you live tomorrow when I place a trade live, when I'm going to look to adjust that trade. Hey, if I sell a credit spread tomorrow morning for $1.50, I tend to look to adjust the trade if I lose about 75% of the credit that I took in. And I tend to say, hey, I'm going to eject out of this trade if I lose double the credit. And I know it's abstract looking without a trading screen. We'll do that in the morning, okay? Finally, step 7, the exit plan. This is what I call the Colin Powell step. President Bush, the first, came to him and said, get Iran, they were there too, Iraq out of Kuwait. Got it, Mr. President. We'll go plan and do that. Get it done. 48 hours to get you planned. Real quick, sir. When do we declare victory? When we want to know when we're getting out of something before we get into it. He learned that in Vietnam the hard way, right? So, and let me get a show of hands. And I won't read names. We'll be honest. We're all friends here tonight. Whiz. So, yeah, thanks, Harry. I appreciate that. So, Richard, I fear not being able to completely keep up with you, Mr. Buckley. You're on fire, sir. Hey, guys, real quick. This thing, my in-doc on Monday nights usually runs about 2 hours. And I caught some grief, like it's an hour and a half right now. I don't want to keep you here all night because we have an early, well, it's 10 a.m. in the morning. And everything I'm covering tonight, I'm going to do. And Doug's going to do throughout the week. You'll meet Doug Wednesday night. Tomorrow morning, it's going to be slower. It's an hour and a half, 2 hours of live trading. So we're going to be taking some of these concept demo. I demonstrated some of them tonight, and then we're going to do. So don't worry about if you're hanging on the back of the stabilator as I'm getting airborne. I throttle back. Absolutely. Jeff, it absolutely is possible with a full-time job. Let me show you something real quick. One of these slides. I'm actually going to go to one of the end of my presentation just to where is it? Where's my 80 offensive? Oh, so here you go, guys. Just look at this slide real quick. For those of you going, hey, Wiz, first of all, I work tomorrow morning. One of my traders, read this, ready here. I'm so geeked. I've been a subscriber for almost 3 years now, and this is my first time I've been able to attend live. I know you via replays. So folks, 80%, the last survey I did of all my members, 80% of you work. You can watch the replays. You can be sitting in death by meeting at work in your cubicle or wherever, and you get a text alert. Oh, crap. I can run TGO from this phone, folks. I have my Options House platform on here. I got my broadcaster. I could be sitting at the beach and get a text alert I get text alerts from Doug, and I'm like, that looks like a good trade. So people watch the replays at lunch. They watch the replays whenever they get a chance, so don't worry about it. If you work, the answer, that was a very long answer to your short question, yes, you can be at TGO. So let me get to this, and then I'll take your questions. How many of you, I wanted to ask you a question. How many of you have had a credit spread on, a bull put spread, and it expires, let's say, on a Friday, and it's Thursday morning, and you're like, you know what, Wiz? I got a 90% profit in this sucker. There's about $300 to go by Friday. But you know what? $300 to go is a weekend of drinking, man, or dinner night with my lady. So you know what? I want that extra, 10%, that $300. and you go golfing on Thursday, wake up Friday morning, and the futures are down 1,000 points because, China went out of business. How many of you, be honest, how many of you have turned a 90, 80, 90% winning trade into a 100% losing trade? I'll just let it expire worthless. Fish did, never again. Of course, been there, done that. Yes, yes. Don't want to. Can you teach me not to? Me, never again. Awesome, guys. Thanks. I know since I've been one of you, I went from being you to a pro amateur to a pro, folks. I've been you. So I know you have because I did, and I was an idiot. You're never going to do that again. Or let me say this. If you're at Top Gun Options and you do that again, it's because you failed. Okay? We're going to set our, hey, man, let's get out. I sent out an alert last week on one of my weekly options trades. I said, hey, guys, I'm looking at like 80, 85% profit on this, $1,500. There's $400 to go. I'm out. Friday, imploded. And I got a couple, I'm not going to name the members, Whiz, put me in the penalty box type of thing. Discipline, folks. For every time you eke out that extra $300, yeah, it did expire worthless. All it takes is one big blowout to lose $5,000, and all those little $300 trades. When you get to your max acceptable loss, folks, do it. We call it eject. You ready? Here's the fun part of the webinar tonight, okay? And hopefully you've been having fun. You really are the options wizard. Thanks, Richard. Whiz, I'm the wizard. Fish, push-ups. Let me ask you a question, and I love the responses to this. Everybody see this picture? This is you can see the maple leaf, or maybe you can't. There's a maple leaf up here. So this is a CF-18, a Canadian F-18. This young flight captain, or whatever his rank was, he was doing an air show practice, getting ready for the weekend. He's at 200 feet above the runway, going down the runway with his nose parked straight up in the air. And halfway down you could have passed him. If you were driving on the runway in your car, you could have passed him. He was doing about 85 knots. I would have passed him in my BMW, looking up at him. All of a sudden, his left engine, you see this? No Bernoullis, no thrust coming out. You see this? A lot of thrust. Left engine failed. He immediately rolled over. You got to Google this. Write this down in your notes. Canadian F-18 air show crash. Watch the video. Watch how quick this dude gets out of the airplane. The picture after this one is literally, as the video goes, he's in the dirt. Let me ask you a question. You know what? Let me see if I can do it, though. You know what? Let's do an experiment since we're a little ahead of schedule here. Watch this. CF-18 air show crash. I'm making a point here in a second. Oh, yeah, there it is. All right, so let's see if this is jumpy on you or whatever, since I'm like broadcast. Just watch. Let's see what happens. Hold on a second. Whoops, I pressed pause. Here we go. You ready? Holy crap. One more time. Okay. Wow. How bad was that? Could you guys see that? Good. Okay. Oh, good. It looked good. He literally, now let me ask, all right, Whiz, what the hell does this have to do with trading? Let me ask you a question. When did that young man make the decision to eject out of that airplane? Go. Let me read your answer. I love it, man. We did a great job. I did. We did a great job tonight. Good. Thank God, you guys. We got one wrong, Tony. Thomas, nope. A couple wrong answers. Let me tell you, most of you got it right. He made the decision to get out of that airplane in the brief. Oh my God, all the dots are coming together. This is why Whiz calls it a brief or a live trade brief. Folks, that young flight lieutenant sat in his brief going, all right, during the slow speed, high alpha maneuver, if I lose an engine, man, I got to get out. Okay, if I'm doing the dirty loop, blah, 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 blah. before we go fly, folks, here's the trading analogy. Before we place a trade, we need to know when we're getting out, because most of the average retail traders in this webinar tonight would have flown right into that ground. This Hornet loves me. Apple loves me. This trade is going to come back. He made the decision to eject in the brief. Final analogy, and then we'll take your questions. If you watch the Discovery Channel or hear any military aviation, on History Channel or something like that, it's eerily quiet on the radio. It's very quiet when we're flying a mission. The only time it's not quiet on the radio or you need to speak up is when something doesn't go as briefed. When you sign up by the end of the week, only 50 of you out of 3,800 traders, sometimes you're nervous. You're like, Whiz, are we still in this trade? I'm like, did you get a text from me that says I ejected or I'm out? I'm getting out? No. Then I'm not. Don't you remember the brief? So the reason I show you this picture and I show you that video is because that young captain, his neck hurts and everything like that, he's alive and he was flying a month later. He made the decision to eject in the brief. Do you understand that? Okay? So he didn't make it when the engine failed. He didn't make it when they actually did the math. If he had waited you ready? I just blinked my eye. If he had waited another half a blink of an eye, he would have ejected into the ground. And if you notice, the ejection seat has gyros that if you do eject kind of sideways like he did, it did what? It put him skyward. My point is, ladies and gentlemen, is here at Top Gun Options, I am going to teach you when to adjust that thing, when they get out of the jet, and give it back to the taxpayers, okay? There's nothing worse than taking a trade to max loss. Now, don't get me wrong. I gave you my Rumsfeld unknown. We might be sitting here fat, dumb, and happy in a trade, and all of a sudden here comes ExxonMobil, or my long call diagonal on ExxonMobil. Breaking news, the Exxon Valdez with Captain Hazelwood again somehow ran aground, and the stock goes down. I get those. But if we can brief as much as possible before we place the trade, we will be a hell of a lot more profitable. I know some of you are at services right now, like they just sent out here's an alert on trade this option spread or something like that. I'm like, that's the only thing you're telling these people? No wonder people hate people like me they don't hate people like me in the industry, because at Top Gun Options, we don't do that crap. Okay? So, exactly. How many G's did he eject? Harry, when you pull the ejection handle, you go from 0, me sitting here having a nice glass of wine, to 40 G's instantaneously. So if you weigh 200, I'm not saying I weigh 200 pounds, what's 40 times 200 pounds? That's how much everything weighed. And his head, if it weighed, what's the 50 pounds? What's the head weigh? Times 40. So Harry, that was a hell of a implosion. All right, so that is my brief for tonight. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to start looking at some questions. A little bit of a preview for tomorrow. This is I'm not going to go into all of my positions tomorrow, but folks, this is the primary live trade brief. I'm going to try and get 2 trades in tomorrow morning. Okay? Here it is. Here are my positions. Apple, AIG, no more Japan. Brazil, you'll know why. Also, you're going to meet somebody by the end of the week, also why we're in Brazil. China, Goldman Sachs, Nike, Russia, energy, technology, consumer staples, and Exxon. This is the primary live trade brief model portfolio. Okay? No, Trevor, no. Well, in the hedge fund, I'm also, one of the things that I didn't put in my bio slides, since they were dragging on anyway, I'm also the Chief Development Officer for a hedge fund based up there in the Great White North. And no, they're all deployed, absolutely. Kurt, yes, if you need to ask a question about our services or Kurt, you wrote education. I'm going to pretend you put training in there. We don't educate folks, we train. Okay, our email is support@topgunoptions.com, and they can hook you up. Jim, what is history of your followers getting your fills? Jim, anecdotally, it's 50-50. When we're trading live tomorrow, it's funny. I'll be sitting here for 20 minutes trying to get filled. Half of you guys are like, filled. The other half's like, I can't get a fill. Folks, remember, it's a market. Imagine standing on the floor of the SIBO with 50 people around, and the market maker he points at me instead of you because maybe he liked my tie. It's in the age of computers. There's no rhyme or reason. If you're Jim, if you're mid-market, $1.50 on a trade, and I'm mid-market $1.50, why you got filled and I didn't, or I got filled and you didn't? Sometimes there's no rhyme or reason. Win for volatility. How can VXX trade to zero, as you have mentioned in the past? And why not use the VIX? When you'll learn this week, if I'm trading vol inside 30 days, I use VIX. If I'm trading 2 months, you never trade any vol outside of 2 months. Folks, look at a chart of VXX. Don't get glommed off on VXX. The VXX is going to zero over time because of backwardation and contango. Take a look at the 1-year chart of VXX. 6 maybe. That'll prove my point. It is going to zero unless they rebalance it and all sorts of stuff, which they will. Now take a look at a chart of the VIX. The VIX returns to its resting heart rate. Okay, look at the VIX. The resting heart rate of the VIX for the past year-ish has been what? A 12. You're going to hear this about 20 times from me this week, or at least through Wednesday, and then I'm done and Doug picks up. Write this down on your notes. When volatility is cheap, you buy it. When it's expensive, you sell it. When vol is cheap down here at a 12, you buy it. There's the Fed meeting. There's the election. Brexit's over here. When the vol gets down here to write this down. If you see an 11, a 10, we saw a 10 handle on the VIX Jan 13th. If you see a 10, 11, or 12 in front of that decimal point, buy vol with both hands. Folks, that's like being down here in Florida. It's a clear blue sky. Go buy hurricane insurance. You don't go buy hurricane insurance when there's a tropical depression over the Bahamas and it's black outside. And Hurricane Matthew, my name, hits you in the fall. That's stupid. You might be able to get hurricane insurance. You're going to pay out pay for it. We'll talk vol this week, guys. Not a ton of questions on vol, okay? ETN eventually trades to nothing. Exactly. Will the replay go for the same time as the live session? Frank, yeah. When I get done with you guys, and I'm already late, I render the recording, and it'll be posted on the replay page here shortly, and it's a replay of the entire thing. So that's a good point for the rest of the week, folks. If I hit on something tomorrow in the PLTB, at the hour and 10 minute, Whiz started getting into his Goldman Sachs trade. I didn't want to hear what he said before. Write down an hour and 10, so you can maybe fast forward to that trade. Okay. Harry, I'm not a gold guy, man. I'm out. Let me scroll up because there was some good stuff going on earlier. And like I said, folks, my apologies. This is and a lot of people are like, oh, only 50 slots by the end of the week. That's marketing. It isn't. I'll open up the chat box, hopefully with Go to Training later in the week. My members will tell you. It's because I can't have a zoo. There's 400 at our peak. We had 650 traders in here. As an instructor, I was an instructor pilot in the Hornet. I can't leave a room without a question answered. Tonight I have to, since there's about 1,000 questions. That's why at the end, because we keep our squadron very tight. Every time we do a full throttle session, we only allow 50 people in at the end of the week. I can't have a live trade brief with 650 people. That's what crap does out there. They just blast out trade ideas, and it's a meat factory. We go elite here, folks. So that's when you hear me say, hey, we got 50 and we're done. That's why. Does that make sense? Mark, we'll find out Wednesday after accelerated retirement. I don't ever. Oh, and people are actually asking tonight how to join. That's an awesome metric that we're going to have a good week. I don't open the slots until Wednesday afternoon, guys. You can't, just kind of like the people who left waiting for trades and, this is boring me. Now we got people who want to join just on what I did tonight. Let me show you what we can do tomorrow morning in the live trading session. Let me get you a Goldman Sachs trade. Let me show you the accelerated retirement portfolio. By Wednesday afternoon, when I'm done with an accelerated retirement, that's most likely when we're going to open the slots. And traditionally, and also based on how many people have registered, we might have all those slots full by Thursday. So you'll find out all that stuff next week. Exactly, Tracy. New members, this will be the best stock option membership you will ever buy in your lifetime. Whiz, Doug, and Top Gun options are the best of business, hands down. Thanks, Fish. I appreciate that. Can you say, Rick, I'm in the process of refinancing my home so I can have some money to trade. As of right now, only have, in my options house account. Can you save me a spot for me for a few weeks? Rick, remind me on Wednesday, the fact that you asked first, if Rick, do me a favor, write down this email address, support@topgunoptions.com, and shoot, her name's Annie. She's our, say, hey, Wiz said you'd save a slot for me. As long as it's an annual one, we'll hook you up. Steve, I just answered that. How much does it cost to join our services? I'll answer that Wednesday. Folks, you have to see us in action before you sign. I'm not going to let anybody sign up tonight. Okay? All right, so let me answer a couple more questions. I'll get out of here. Again, tomorrow morning at 10 is the primary live trade brief with me. I'm not going to cover all these intro slides and all this stuff. It's not crap. Sorry if I was going to use that. I just like to get trading. These Monday night sessions I have to have, and I'm glad I scraped a couple of these. Where's the trades and performance? I'm like, that's a couple slides, man, relax. I'm glad most of those people left because they're annoying as hell anyway. I don't like those type of people. No offense, but the member isn't always right at TGO. I've let members go sometimes before because they do have that kind of tactical mentality, and they're just kind of in our live trading sessions, folks. We can't do it this week because we have nearly 4,000 people registered. We use GoToTraining, and it can take up to 200 people. That's another reason we only have 50 each full throttle, because then you can see each other's comments and you can actually help each other out. Now that we use GoToTraining, Fish can answer somebody's question about, hey, what strike did he talk about or anything like that. It's tough in this one because I have to use the big room. We have up to 1,000 slots in this one, 1,000 seats, so I have to sit here all night and read comments. That's why it drives me nuts. Good. Oh, awesome. All right. Most of the stuff is all positive, and a lot of the other trading questions, folks, I'm going to answer as we go throughout the week. Okay. I answered the minimum account size and all the other stuff, so I think we might be pretty good to go. I'm going to get out of here before 10 because I didn't want to go 2 hours. So, all right, folks, I'll tell you what. I'm completely fired up that you guys are here, man. This is it's an honor to be here. In case it didn't come across, and I think some of you wrote this, I'm very passionate about what I do. I love Top Gun options. I've been doing this for 7 years, and we've grown exponentially since I've been doing this. And it really does bring a smile to my face personally, and now that we're all friends, to see this many people registered. If you don't get a slot by Friday, I guarantee you next time we do this full throttle launch, we'll have about 5,000 people. We went over 3,500, 3,578 registered for the rest of the week. So, like I said, get in here early because hell, tomorrow morning, maybe half the people skipped tonight. I can only hold 1,000 in this big room. So if you get in tomorrow morning and it's late or whatever, you're probably gonna have to watch the replay. Or if you get an error like, hey, too many people in the room, my apologies. Kurt, thanks so much. My uncle was a fighter pilot in Vietnam, so I have so much respect for you. Thank you, Kurt. I have even more respect for your uncle than me, man. That was scarf out the canopy flying, man. What I do nowadays is it's funny. Every generation kind of over compliments the one in front of them. Real quick story. I went to the Tailhook convention luncheon one year. I sat next to a guy, one of the youngest naval aviators, who took off. Oh man, I'm going to get my aircraft carriers wrong, and you guys are going to kill me. Battle of Midway. Took off of the Lexington, whatever it was, as a torpedo bomber when they found the Jap fleet. He put a torpedo in the Akagi, went back to try and land on the Lexington, and I think it was on fire. The dude in the back's dead. His gunner is dead. He finds one of our other carriers, whatever it was, the Yorktown, lands on the Yorktown. They pull the dead guy out. They put another guy in the back, put another torpedo on him. He takes off again, 21-year-old kid, finds another Jap carrier, puts another one into that guy. I sat there at lunch. I had tears in my eyes. This guy was like, 80, 90 years old. And he wanted to know what it was like to fly the Hornet. And he had so much respect for me. And it was incredible. The guy got like 4 Navy Crosses because what he did. So, Kurt, I appreciate that, man. Okay. Kathy. Wiz, do you have any groups in any cities like a club? Kathy, when I go speak, like I said, I'm going to Jax in a couple weeks, Jacksonville, and I'm heading to Houston in a couple weeks as well to speak with actually one of my members' companies. I let you know where I'm speaking because, Kathy, I'll take you out to dinner and buy the first 10 rounds, okay? But I wanted to start doing live events. That's part of my 2017 strategic plan. I don't know how you got a hold of that, Kathy. That really worries me. I hope this can work for a working person like me. Arthur, I guarantee you it can. Like I just showed you a comment from one of our guys who hadn't watched one of my live events in 3 years, and he was still getting all the trades and printing money and watching the replays on Sundays, man, on the couch. So, Arthur, you can absolutely do it. Thanks, Harry. Okay, another awesome night here. Thanks. Yep. All right. You got it. Robert, I only need 2 rounds. I'm a cheap date. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let you guys go. Don't forget about following me on StockTwits and Twitter, WhizCheck6. Don't forget about the free sit rep that I do every day, that even if you don't become a member, I think it's good content, and you might get some free trades out of that every once in a while, but I'm not a charity. I'm not the United Way of Whiz. And here's the replay page. It's going to take me about an hour to render this video. This is my job. I'll be up tonight. Go to bed. The replay probably won't be posted tonight. It'll be posted sometime tomorrow. And again, tomorrow's session will be recorded, and you can watch that replay, okay? All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge. God bless. I'll see many of you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. If I don't see you at 10 a.m. Eastern, make sure you watch the replay on this page, and then I'll see you on Wednesday, Wednesday night, Thursday, weekly options. Great week ahead. And real quick, guys, if you really want to know the flight schedule, because you didn't take a screenshot of that page, here's the opt-in page that many of you, it looks familiar. I signed up on that page. The flight schedule is on this page so you can see the sequence of events. And don't remember, and don't forget, when you opted into all this stuff, you opted into all 6. So you're going to get a 1-hour reminder email. You don't have to contact support. Hey, I don't have a link for today. You're going to get it an hour before. Trust me, okay? Great session. Welcome aboard. I'm Matthew Buckley. My call sign is Whiz. Welcome aboard Top Gun Options. I guarantee you for 50 of you, this is your new home. And if some of you don't get on board at the end just for Full Throttle, you might be able to jump into one of our other smaller services, okay? So happy hunting. Make sure you hedge. God bless. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. We'll see you.